he invented the light bulb, and he said he could tell you 999 ways not to make a light bulb. Because he tried 999 ways that didn't work. So sometimes those excellent mistakes are learning experiences for us. So what have been our excellent mistakes over the years?
Well, contradicting my previous answer.
Life's contradictory sometimes.
Yeah,
It's okay.
The fact that we didn't persevere and we stopped and we regrouped and took notice. There was, before the actual remix service started, there was very much us and them. We're us down here and them up there, and why did they do this and we do that? And I think when we restarted and had everybody regroup, it's been very much more unified. And when you have the support of the whole body of the church, it just makes life so much easier.
Yeah.
And it makes growth.
So we've learned from our mistakes. Any other mistakes that we've learned from?
Well, also, we did go through a period where our senior pastor was not willing to share the load of the congregation. Went through a point where he felt like he needed to be, and of course we've been through many pastors and all that, but he felt like he needed to be the one to talk. So therefore we went through a period of, do we change it to 9:30 and do it during Sunday school so that he could preach to all of the congregants of the church? And I think the willingness to give up some has been
Yeah. Well, let me ask you this then, because I think that this is the most important part for me, and I hope it is for you as well. All of this other stuff that Angie's talking about, and the time in the past of where we've come from, is all for one reason: to see lives transformed, to see God begin to work in people's lives in such a way that they become followers of Jesus Christ. Not just Christian, but true followers of Jesus Christ. So have we seen that happen? Have we seen lives transformed, you think, through the remix service?
Absolutely. I think that we begin thinking the needs of others. Not only have I seen people physically come up front and be saved, I see excitement in wanting to arrive at worship. Just in my own household, for example, my kids want to get up and go to church. And, I see people walking in the door that this is not a duty for them. This is my Sunday schedule. I have to come to church. This is a joy and an excitement to be here. And another thing, I guess, is that I feel like we're more authentic in here, that we're comfortable in our own skin. You can come in what you want to wear. You can dress up, not dress up. And still know that you're worshiping God, and you're in a group of people who just enjoy worshiping with you.
Right. Awesome. Because really, that's what it's about when it all boils down to it. We can have the best band in the world. You could have Billy Graham come and speak every Sunday, but if people's lives aren't transformed, we're just putting a show on. It's really, really about lives that are transformed and God working in people's lives. Angie, thank you for helping us remember just a little bit our collective memory, and I certainly appreciate that. Would you guys give Angie a hand? I know you guys are thinking, I hope he doesn't call on me to come up there. Well, I may one day, so get over it. I ask you always to pray about whether or not God asks you to do something. Let me kind of tie a bow around this thing and help us understand the importance of why we're talking about what we're doing today, the remembering of what God has done. And here's one of the things that I've heard Angie say, and I've heard through other stories, yours and some other people, about what God has done. Here's the thing that has tied it all together, I believe, for me. And I don't know if you would recognize this or not, but maybe fresh eyes will help you see a little bit better. The thing that has held it all together is unity. To say we want to look beyond ourselves. We want to look beyond what our desires are. To say, what is it that God is calling us to do? Now, you heard Angie say, and some of you experienced, there's been some very excellent mistakes. But we've learned we weren't always unified. Some of those mistakes happened because of pastors. I mean, let's Let's be honest about it. And I hope that I'm not one of those people that makes one of those excellent mistakes. There's a good chance I will. And I hope you'll forgive me and extend grace when we do. But the thing that's important for us is we think about and remember and look forward to where God has taken us. You. If you stop and think about it, it was the same way 10 years ago. When our world came crumbling down and we came together as a country. Not only as a country, but as a world. You know, today, this afternoon, we're going to have this, and I hope you'll come back for this, a reading of this book called 14 Cows for America. Did you know on 9/11 that this little tribe in Rwanda gave 14 cows to America to say, we want to help you. We're sorry for what's happened. And so when we came together as a world, as a community, bigger than just us. And that's what's important for us here in Remix, us in Dalton First United Methodist Church, is that we stay together and hold ourselves. That's what mass is, that helps us with our momentum. We have to be unified. That's the way God has intended. Listen to this from Psalm 133. And if you got your Bibles, I want to invite you to turn there with me. It's one that you can mark and go back to often. From Psalm 133, listen to this. It's a song of ascents of David. David writes, how good and pleasant it is when brothers live together in unity. How good and pleasant it is when we live together in unity. He says, it is precious. It is like precious oil poured on the head, running down on the beard, running on the Aaron's beard, down upon the collar of his robes. It is as if dew of Hermon was falling on Mount Zion, and there the Lord bestows his blessing, even life ever after. God desires us to be unified, y'all, as a community of faith, to be headed in the same direction that we'll talk about next week, to be together and unified in that. We've done that in the past, and we're going to do that in the future. We're going to be together and supporting it together. And here's what I would always ask you. If you feel like me as your pastor in this place, if I'm headed where God's calling us, I want to ask you to follow. If you don't feel like it's that, then you come say something. But let's be unified in wherever we go. Because in that, God will honor it. It says right here, how good and pleasant it is when we live together in unity. And David uses an example. It's like oil, anointing oil, which is a blessing upon people, a healing thing that would be poured and run down your body. It's a permanent blessing. And also he talked about how the dew would come off of Mount Hermon and Mount Zion. Imagine, and let me put that in context for you. He said it's so refreshing, it's just like water that comes into your soul when you live in a desert. It's the context. Because that's what unity is. So today we're going to talk about, or today we want to celebrate that unity that we've had and talk about it as it moves forward. And there's no doubt that for the last 6.5, even 15 years, God's hand's been on this. I thank God that there was people that 15 years ago said, you know what, there's a group of guys who aren't coming to worship. So let's find a way to reach them. And yeah, we missed the target. Maybe we should have took that worship service to the golf course and we would have reached them. Okay, stop and think about that. We might use that in the future. Maybe we should have done some things differently. But I thank God that there was men and women who said, let's figure out how to reach them. And did it with a unified purpose. I want you to stop and think about the heritage that you're a part of. There was men and women. Who knows that this church wasn't always sitting in this location? That used to sit down the road a week? No way. I sat and talked to somebody the other day that told me, and he was one of the people that helped build this current facility that we have. I want you to stop and think about the courage it took for those men and women then to say, we're going to move locations. I want you to think about that. I want you to remember this. It would be real easy for us to say, this is where God has wanted us, and this is where we're going to stay forever. Now, I'm not telling you God's fixing to move the whole church. But what I am telling you is God's going to take us to different places we may not even imagine sometimes. I can picture this little Jewish synagogue that sits out here that nobody's using right now. I can picture a remix worship service and there was 500 people. Can you picture that? I can picture remix and worship that goes out into the community. That goes to where people are. Could you imagine if God calls us to do that? Are we going to be unified and willing to go? Next week, we're going to expand some more on that. Of places that God can take us. But here's what it is. It's important that we are unified and together in it. And I want to ask you to think about that in this coming week. Our mass is determined by our unity. When we're unified, God honors it. There'll be mistakes along the way. There'll be bumps. But I believe God's going to take us to do some amazing things. I really do. I believe that God has orchestrated and put the right people in the right places, grown people to certain places, and that we're here for this time for a very purpose and reason that God has designed for us. Not something that I'm dreaming of, not something that you're dreaming of, not something that Robin dreams of, but what God has dreamed of for us. I want to ask you to think about that this coming week. Can we get behind this? Can we be unified? Because if we're not, a house divided will fall. I promise you. But I believe God has orchestrated it for we will succeed. I want you to think about that in this coming week. Today, I believe God's moving us to a new place. A place that we can't even imagine. Next week, we're going to dream about that a little bit. We got a video here that we pulled together real fast just to kind of set that tone and just thinking about that for just a minute. So watch this video as a way to kind of prepare us for what God has yet to come for us.
The church has a remix to make the total offering of all types of worship that the community and the church needs offer. It basically, as I've heard people say, one service completes the other. Without each other, we're not a complete church. So we put in a remix to basically offer that which was on offer.
We have remix because worship is not always one size fits all.
Because some people like to worship.
Going back, remix, I think, originally was started kind of as a knee-jerk reaction to people that were finding alternatives to our church in different parts of the community. I think we recognized the need that we weren't satisfying all the needs people had with our traditional service upstairs at 8:30 and 11 o'clock.
We want to provide an alternative way to worship.
Because people like to worship in different ways. And I like different music. I love to go to the sanctuary. I go at 8:30. But I often go to the remix at 11 because I love that style of worship, that style of preaching. And
We have remix as an alternative way to worship the Lord.
Because different people like different styles of worship. To learn about the ways of the Lord in an unconventional manner.
I would say some people can get together and worship God in a different way so that we can serve people who worship in all kinds of different ways. To reach out to the community.
I love the idea of having a service where everything is hands-on. And I think we have come close to reaching our potential where everybody can find something to do. If we look at Romans 8:28, all things are together for good, those who love the Lord are called according to His purpose. And I think each person can find what their purpose is in a service like this. It's just so much fun inside.
We have a remix service because we worship God in